Every Halloween, after the last knock fades and the streets go quiet, there's one rule people in our town still whisper about: never answer the door after 10 o'clock. Most think it's an old superstition, a leftover from some forgotten tragedy. But I had a friend who learned the truth the hard way. If you love stories that make you check your locks twice, hit subscribe. Because tonight's story isn't about costumes or candy. It's about the thing that comes when you forget to turn off the lights. We all have that one friend who despises Halloween. Not the kind of mild annoyance you get from someone tired of buying candy or sweeping confetti off the porch. I mean the kind of deep, bone-rooted hatred that looks almost like fear. That was my friend Ethan, though back when we were kids, he loved everything about October. We used to go all out together, carving pumpkins, covering the front yard with fake cobwebs, rigging up motion sensor ghosts that would scream when you walked by. He was the type of kid who'd start planning his costume in August and wouldn't stop talking about it until the night of the 31st. And then, one year, something changed. It was gradual at first. He stopped dressing up, stopped going trick-or-treating, stopped even answering his door. By the time we hit high school, he wouldn't even come to my Halloween parties. He'd go dark for the entire night. No texts, no calls, no porch light, nothing. I used to tease him about it, thinking it was just teenage edginess. I had no idea it came from something much darker. It wasn't until last Halloween that I found out what had really happened to him. It was the Friday before Halloween weekend, and I dragged Ethan to a friend's costume party. The place was loud, fog machine running, orange lights flickering, half the crowd drunk before midnight. Ethan showed up late, uncostumed as usual, and claimed he was dressed as a guy who hates holidays. I was just glad he'd come out at all. He stood in the corner most of the night, nursing the same drink, pretending to check his phone while people danced around him. Every time someone in a pumpkin mask passed, he flinched. Not a big, dramatic reaction, but enough that I noticed. I finally asked, "What's your deal with Halloween anyway? You act like it killed your dog." He gave me this hollow look, the kind of look you give when you're not sure if you should lie or just unload everything at once. He didn't answer right away. He stared into his drink for a long time, then muttered, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." I told them to try me. He sighed, rubbed at the back of his neck, and said quietly, "When I was 14, something came to my door. I thought it was just a late trick-or-treater, but it wasn't." That Halloween had been like any other. His parents were going to a neighborhood party and left him in charge of handing out candy. They gave him the usual warnings: lock up early, lights out by 10. His mom had been especially firm about it, repeating it twice as they left. 10 o'clock, Ethan, not a minute later. He figured it was just overprotectiveness. The neighborhood had some urban legends about Halloween curfews, mostly told to keep kids from pranking houses or staying out too late. He didn't believe in any of it. The night went smoothly enough. The doorbell rang non-stop for the first few hours. Clusters of kids in plastic masks, giggling parents at the end of the driveway. By 9:30, the street had thinned out. The laughter had turned to distant echoes, and the sound of candy wrappers skittering across the pavement in the wind replaced the noise of children's feet. Ethan went inside, turned on a horror movie, and sprawled on the couch with a bowl of leftover candy. It was 10:07 when the knock came. He thought nothing of it at first. Maybe a latecomer, a teenager trying to squeeze one more handful of candy out of the night. He grabbed the bowl, went to the door, and opened it. Standing at the bottom of the porch steps was a tall figure cloaked in something that looked like burnt cloth. Its shoulders were massive, the shape beneath the fabric bulky and uneven. But what froze him wasn't the size, it was the head. It was a pumpkin. A real one, carved with jagged precision, the candlelight inside flickering through the slanted eyes and warped grin. But the longer Ethan looked, the more he realized
It wasn't candlelight. The glow pulsed. Orange, then red, then orange again, like the rhythm of something alive. "Trick or treat," the figure said. The voice wasn't playful or muffled by a mask. It was deep and hollow, like wind moving through an empty tunnel. Ethan stood there, unable to speak, as the figure took another step up the porch. The wood creaked beneath its weight. The pumpkin head tilted slightly to the side, the carved grin stretching wider, the light inside brightening. "Trick or treat," it said again, louder this time. "I want something tasty to eat." Ethan's brain caught up to his fear. He threw the candy bowl down and slammed the door. He locked the deadbolt, flipped the porch light off, and backed away. From the other side of the door came a slow, rhythmic scrape, like someone dragging metal across the wood. Then silence. He waited for the sound of retreating footsteps. It never came. After a minute, he dared to look through the peephole. The porch was empty, but there was smoke rising from the spot where the figure had been standing. He told himself it was just a prank, maybe a guy in a costume, maybe someone from the next block over trying to freak him out. But the smell that crept through the cracks in the door wasn't smoke. It was burning pumpkin. He stayed up until dawn. His parents came home at sunrise and found him pale and shaking on the couch. When he told them what happened, they didn't laugh or tell him he imagined it. His mother just said softly, "That's why we tell you not to open the door after 10. He tried to move on after that, told himself it was a dream or maybe a memory that had twisted itself over time. But the next Halloween he was home again, and it came back. This time he wasn't alone. He'd invited his girlfriend over. They'd made popcorn, turned off the porch light early, and planned to watch scary movies until midnight. He figured as long as the lights were off, nothing would happen. But around 9:55, the power flickered. Just once. Then again. The porch light, which he swore he'd turned off, blinked back to life. He got up to check it, muttering about bad wiring. As he crossed the living room, he heard footsteps on the porch. Heavy, uneven ones. Then someone knocked at the door. Slow, like someone enjoying the sound of their own strength. "Don't!" his girlfriend said. "It's late!" He froze halfway to the door. Then came the voice. "Trick or treat." Every hair on his neck stood up. "I want something tasty to eat." The sound vibrated through the walls, like it was coming from inside the house as much as outside it. Ethan lunged for the light switch, flicking it off, but the porch bulb didn't die. It burned brighter, flooding the window with a searing orange glow. Through the glass he saw it, the jack-o'-lantern man standing at the foot of the steps, one long arm reaching up toward the door. The grin was wider this time. Its teeth were sharper. The glow inside its head burned red like a furnace. He locked every door, every window, killed the breakers, but the light refused to go out. The thing knocked again, louder now, the boards trembling beneath each blow. His girlfriend screamed and ducked behind the couch. Then silence. When Ethan dared to peek through the blinds, the figure was gone. The porch light flickered once more, then died.
He didn't sleep for days after that. By the time Halloween rolled around the next year, he'd moved to a different part of town, a place with no porch light at all. He covered every window, left no pumpkin outside, ignored the holiday completely. And still, it found him. By the time he finished telling me all this, I didn't know what to say. I wanted to believe it was just trauma, a prank gone wrong that left a scar on his memory. But the way he said, "It finds me," made something twist in my stomach.
He didn't come to my Halloween party that year. I didn't expect him to. But around 10:20, my phone rang. It was Ethan. When I answered, all I heard was static, and then his voice, trembling. "The lights, they won't go off." There was a crash in the background, the unmistakable sound of wood splintering. Then, that same voice. "Trick or treat." I heard Ethan scream, a door slammed, something heavy dragged across the floor. The line went dead. I drove straight to his place. His street was silent, every house dark except his. Every lamp in his house was blazing bright, even the ones I knew he'd removed the bulbs from years ago. His front door hung off one hinge. The air smelled like burnt sugar and rotting pumpkin. On the floor just inside the doorway was his phone, still light on, and beside it, a handful of melted candy fused to the tile like wax. There were footprints leading away from the door. Not shoe prints, bare, wide, with deep heel marks that left scorch patterns behind them. They trailed off into the street, glowing faintly before they vanished into the dark. Ethan was never found. His house burned down 2 nights later. The fire department said it started from an electrical surge, but there was no power in the house at the time. I still leave my lights off every Halloween, not because I believe his story completely, but because I can't forget the sound of his voice on the phone, that frantic whisper, begging something unseen to leave him alone. Every year since, I've caught glimpses, a flicker of orange light down the street, a faint smell of smoke on a cold night. And once, when I was driving home past midnight, I saw him, or something that looked like him. A tall figure walking down the side of the road, its head glowing from within, a jagged grin carved across its face. Chains dragging behind it, each link clinking softly against the asphalt. And when my headlights swept across it, the light inside its head flared brighter, as if it knew I was watching. I didn't slow down. I didn't look back. But I haven't celebrated Halloween since. If your doorbell rings after 10 tonight, ignore it. Don't peek, don't answer, don't even move. Because once you do, he'll know you're home. And if you see that faint orange light moving down your street, just remember, some knocks aren't meant to be answered.